To all Christians throughout the world and in Malaysia at large, a very happy Easter, and He is risen! And to all my Malay Muslim friends, a belated Happy Hari Raya, Eid Mubarak, and Maaf Zahir dan Batin if I didn't get the chance to talk to you. I thought to make an Easter video because it's the most important part of the Christian calendar, but also because a pretty unique thing happened
in the year of 2026.
Because it turned out that for an entire month, Christians and Muslims fasted together in the exact same time period. Hari Raya comes after Ramadan, and Easter comes after 40 days of fasting that starts with Ash Wednesday. In both cases, both of these groups of people were fasting, the Muslims starting from February 17th and the Christians starting from February the 18th. Hari Raya was on
March 21st.
And Easter is on Easter Sunday, which is April the 5th, 2026. So basically, if we do the math, Christians and Muslims were fasting together for
the entire time.
Isn't that cool? I should say that the fasting traditions are very different though. I mean, for Muslims, the Quran commands fasting in the month of Ramadan, and the Hadith basically say that it should start with the sighting of the Ramadan crescent and end with the sighting of the Shawwal crescent. The purpose is to obtain taqwa, or God consciousness it seems, and it's literally commanded of you. In Christianity, what we have with Lent though is quite different. Christians usually start fasting from Ash Wednesday for 40 days, but it's not exactly the same as the way people fast in the middle of Ramadan, and interestingly, it's also not required. Catholics and really Orthodox Christians are a lot more strict about it, but if you go to like a charismatic or Protestant church, chances are that you might not see people actually follow a fast in the same way. But also when we think about fasting, it's not always just about food, which is very different from what you have in the Islamic tradition, where basically people fast from after the sahur up until the iftar, and it's literally commanded of them. So there are some exceptions, but usually what happens in practice is that you can't be eating for the entire day, and if you look like you could be Muslim, then I'm not going to talk about the news incidents here, but it is a serious risk for you to actually go out there and try to get food. With Christianity though, it's a bit different because for one thing, you're not supposed to outwardly show that you fast, and the Gospel of Matthew records Jesus as saying, "When you fast, do not look somber as the hypocrites do, but when you fast, put oil on your head and wash your face so that it will not be obvious to others." So the idea is to not actually let people see that you're fasting, but still be doing the fast anyway. And the whole idea here is to replicate the way that Jesus fasted in the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights as a way of turning away from sin, reordering the self, and drawing closer to God as people prepare for Good Friday and finally for Easter. Kind of similar to the way that Muslims who fast are preparing for So yes, similar activity but very different end goals. For Muslims, after fasting, basically you get to celebrate Hari Raya, which is basically like a time for people to meet, give duit raya, to invite friends over, and to basically celebrate the completion of the ritual. Like basically, congratulations, you have earned it, this is all for you. But for Christians, Lent has a very different origin and a very different end goal though. It ends on what Christians call Holy Thursday, which is the day right before the three most important days in the Christian calendar: Good Friday, Silent Saturday, and Easter Sunday, which starts with Jesus being crucified, the day when nothing happened and it felt like evil had won, and then eventually his resurrection on the third day, which is why Christians look to Easter as the day when death was defeated because the Lord had risen. So it is a celebration, but it's not really a similar kind of celebration in the sense that people just go out there and eat like a ton of food and everything. But it's really a very fascinating story that a lot of people have looked to throughout art and history, and it gives hope and conviction to Christians all around the world. A proof that God so loved the world that He sent His only Son to die upon the cross for our sins, and to become sin even though He was sinless Himself in order to redeem all of humanity. That is the message that Christians believe in, and why it is that we celebrate Easter. Very different from what Muslims go through for the entire month of Ramadan, but I think it's pretty meaningful though that all of us just spend this time together. I don't know if you guys knew that the Christians were fasting at all, but yep, that was happening, and that was the time that we fasted together. I don't know if y'all felt anything or you even noticed that people were fasting, because with Christianity, the whole idea is to make sure that people don't even know that you're fasting. Granted, it's not exactly the same either, because you can be eating, but sometimes you can be fasting by taking your eyes off like social media or doom scrolling or brain rot. And there are differences across traditions, which is not really the same as what you have with Ramadan. But it was a very important and spiritual time for many of us out there in the country, and I think it's worth thinking about. Either way though, I know I'm distracting you from going out there and celebrating Easter, or for those of you who are still suffering from Raya withdrawal from preparing your lemang for next year. But yeah, 2026 was a year that we all fasted together. We had a time of spirituality together, and I just thought it was pretty cool that that happened. Again, happy Easter to everyone who is watching this video right on Easter Sunday. If you're watching it after, happy belated Easter. And to a certain Amos Yee who didn't understand what Easter was about the last time we spoke, I hope that you understand right now, and you managed to enjoy your time of going to church and remember the message, He is risen. That's mostly all I have to say about that. What do you think, Sapoops? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Happy Easter, He is risen, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!